y'all can see me, welcome everybody to the call. I'm getting ourselves logged into YouTube. Hello, everybody. It's good to see you all. Just give me 2 seconds, guys. We're logging in here. We're going to go live on YouTube in 1 minute here. And welcome everybody to the call. I'm getting ourselves logged into YouTube. Hello, everybody. All right, guys, I prefer you on Zoom. If y'all can hear me, I am just logging in right now. That's all I'm doing. And I'm getting myself all settled here into Facebook. So let me get everybody, let them see that we're on and we're live. All right. Cool. All right, you guys can all see me. We are live on YouTube. Oh, Tony Marnella, you are here. Good to see you. Let's see. Okay. All right, guys. Let's see what we got going on here. YouTube. Okay, I'm gonna get my volume down here. Let's see who I've got joining us. And I'm gonna give you guys a minute or two for the rest of you all to log in. We have someone joining us again on the call at the end of the night tonight. It may be another audio. I'm gonna try and switch her over, and if I can't, it'll just be her voice, her beautiful voice, but it'll work. So I'm gonna give everybody 2 more minutes here to log in. I am getting everybody joining in on the chatter. It's good to see everybody. Welcome. Let's see what we got going on. Those of you on the Q&A, I will keep checking back in and out through the rest of the call. Sending love to you all. Thank you for the chats. Keeps me updated. If you are logging in, let's see what we got here. Can you all hear me okay? Everybody? Anybody want to message out me? If you guys can hear me okay, just let me know. I want to make sure you guys can hear me. Because I can hear you just fine, Cecilia. Not quite sure what's going on. All right, let's see. All right, a couple more minutes here and I'm going to get you guys started. We're going to talk about some planets today because it's making everybody cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And I love it when that happens, but nobody else loves it. And that's hard. So I like to help everybody understand kind of where this is all coming from. And so when you have a little bit of understanding and you have a little bit of background where a lot of this stuff is surfacing from, it just makes it a little less potent, right? That's my goal for these Truth Tribe calls and content and information, which is we can get further faster when we have a little bit of background and understanding as to why it's happening, why this is going on, where is it coming from. Are you ever going to get perfect? No, you're never going to understand why life throws at us what they throw at us and what's happening. But The good news is that at least there's some understanding, right? At least there's a little understanding as to why we are where we are, why we're stuck, why we're going where we're going. So, you know, in that conversation, most people will come to me all the time and ask, like, why is this happening, Dawn? Or what's happening in the stars? What's happening in the planets? And, you know, the hard news for a lot of people to hear is that we don't want to be in pain, right? Most people don't want to be in pain. I, for one, don't enjoy being in pain. And so I wouldn't want anyone else to be in pain. And it's kind of one of the reasons I do what I do. Yet being in pain is one of the things that we all have to come to terms with. Pain is what makes us stronger and what makes us, you know, more powerful and move. And the fact that we don't like moving, that's a big deal. Pain makes us grow. Absolutely. And so what's hard for a lot of people to understand is this growth, which the two topics tonight, we're going to talk about that and where they're coming from. So I'm going to get started on the call. We're a couple minutes over, but I'm going to get kind of diligent on being on time with these calls. And so we're going to get started. Okay. So those of you who are new tonight on the YouTube, I see I got quite a few of you following in on YouTube and quite a few on the Zoom call. So whatever side you're on, welcome, good evening. I'm Daune Thompson. Welcome to the Truth Tribe. And I want you guys to enjoy tonight because we are going to talk about some heavy stuff going on. We're going to talk about labeling emotions can paralyze your growth. And big time. So if we are questioning what emotions we're experiencing, it's going to suck right now because we're all frustrated with what's coming up. Number two, fear in HD. I bring that up because fear is showing up big time right now and the planets are helping us and they're making it even more fearful. So I thought, let's talk about it so you guys can understand where it's coming from, why, you know, what's going on and what's the bigger reasoning for it to appear right now. Okay, so last week, those of you who were on the call, I discussed people's labels, like physical labels. When we label people in certain ways to try and stop labeling because labeling was getting us in trouble. Now I want you to move discussing emotional labels. Why? Because the planets, guys, right now are dragging you back into the past. And you are responsible with this pulling. What's happening is you're going to get finally responsible for addressing what appears. They're not going to let you off the hook anymore, right? And so nothing is an accident. And you all came here with a blueprint of lessons. And what you choose to stare down or not is on all of you. And the big piece on all of this is what I've been, let me back up a minute. I don't launch out what I'm going to talk about to all of you guys until the day of. Why? Because I wait for the energy to appear. What is the pattern? This is the pattern that is showing up over and over and over again. Okay. My phone has been blowing up regarding feeling. Why am I feeling? This is a question, Dawn. Crappy, heavy, old wounds. You know, negativity, frustration is starting to appear. And so the question is if these old wounds are continually starting to appear within the last week or so, well, this happens when 4 planets up in the sky are looking backwards, which we would call retrograde. So I know a lot of you guys are familiar with Mercury retrograde, but funny, that's not even one of the planets that's going retrograde. It's like big planets, right? And so when the planets look backwards, basically, which is what they're doing, they're asking us to do the same thing, to look backwards. And they're basically saying to all of you, what do you think? Was that good for you? Will that work with your new mindset? You know, are you willing to keep repeating unnecessary people in your life with unnecessary rules and unnecessary impact? Are you good with that? That's what these planets are doing. 4 planets. Count them. And they're going to be there through October. Not all of them at the same time, but in and out. Okay. And so this is the universe, guys. the universe, God, planets, whatever you want to call it what you want. It is here to wake all of your booties up. And these planets, this energy is going to bring you people, experiences, memories, feelings that are going to open up the wounded aspect of yourself to see if you're truly ready to move into the new world of oneness. Because that's what, and that's the new world basically of oneness, is moving to kindness and compassion. And so I'm not just referring to like meaning for others, like, are we going to be kind and compassionate to others? Of course, I hope you are, right? But I mean for all of you, right? Are you going to see your whole being, all of you, as needing love and kindness and compassion? All right, body, mind, and spirit, not just your body, not just your life, not just your money, not just your experiences, but all of it. Okay, so when I get asked daily from people wanting to know what the planets are doing, you know, I laugh. I'm like, okay, something's going on in the sky. And I kind of have an idea, but I don't really focus on it that much. And it's funny, I don't really find it as interesting as all of you do. I know it's like, because you can feel it. And then I have to go, guys, I know you're feeling this, because we can't get away from it, right? But if you know the energy in general is coming, and I prepped you all for this for the last month, I have prepped you all this was coming. And I prepped you by telling you, get ready. It's going to bring up the past, or it's going to bring up a trauma, or it's going to bring up a heaviness. And when it does, guys, it's game on. Okay. This is game on. And it doesn't matter what planet is doing it. It doesn't matter where it's coming from, where it is in the sky. It doesn't matter if you just go, God's coming to get me. Yes. Call it what you want. It matters what you are feeling. And that's what's so important right now, whether you like it or not, whatever you're feeling, we have to step up and address it now. Why do I say that? Well, I prepared you all for this. I prepared you for some time. So this is no longer a warning. Now it's a wake-up call. Okay. I want you all to get this wake-up call. You are all capable of shifting faster and making this a simple dialogue with yourself. That's what I want you to open your mind up tonight. Okay. Am I having this simple dialogue with myself in my head, or with myself in some way, and asking myself, if what she's asking me, am I dealing with this? So now let's get back to labels, right? So we're going to go back to this dialogue. So someone's asking me to give an example. I'm going to give you an example right now. So let's get back to emotions and labels, and these emotions that are coming up, and the planets. I'm just telling you why, because too many planets are saying look backwards. So no one wants to look backwards. I don't want to look backwards. I'm the sign of the future. I don't even like looking back there. So when it forces me, I'm not really thrilled about it. You can even ask my hubby. He's just like, oh no, she's not going to like this. I don't. Okay. And so what I want you to do is look at emotions, and I want you to look back on labels, and I want you to think, okay, what emotions do you label as good and bad? That's the question of the day. Okay. Do you think, I think about these emotions, right? Do you label angry, sad, depressed, lonely, disappointed, pain, setbacks, crying, even physical crying? Do you label these, right? Because if they are bad, what happens when you're labeling these emotions, right? You immediately think about it. You immediately want to move to what's not bad, right? We all do. So what happens is resistance appears, right? We're pushing against something that we don't want anymore, because we're like, no, I don't want that. And we push away from it, or we go over here and we avoid what's sitting right in front of us. And when we create resistance, you start to push away from that feeling. Like, this is bad, so no, go away. That's what everybody does, right? So that's that. A lot of you have heard the phrase, what you resist persists. That's what it means. When something's showing up and you resist letting it show up and letting it appear and let it show itself to you, that's what scares us. And so it's time to end labels on these emotions and just accept them and allow them to pass. We have a society, as I've told you, we are in the biggest emotional poverty I've ever seen. So I'm going to give you all permission tonight. If you need to cry, cry. If you need to sleep and rest, rest. Right? If you need to eat, if you need to talk, if you need to meditate, if you need to journal or play or dance, guys, you have to do it. And don't ask why you're feeling the feeling you have. It's an emotion. You know, when your body needs to rest, don't ask why. Just trust that the soul knows you need to rest. And it will be like, why? Why do I need to rest for 3 days in a row? You just do. On the third day, you're like, wow, I'm starting to feel better. I think I'm gonna get up and I don't need rest. But when we resist it, it wants more and it pushes back against you, and you can never get out of the resistance pattern. And so when you're pushing against what you don't want, you're going to get more of it. And this is where, when we label emotions bad, then we feel like we have to make them good. And then we stop the experience of what we need to pass. And it's really important that you all understand your grid, your chart, your basic blueprint of energy that you came in with in this lifetime. You were born into, whether you call it an astrology blueprint, a karmic blueprint, an Akashic records blueprint. It reveals your lessons and your karma in this lifetime. So it's okay that you all came in to learn something. You're all not going to have this perfect, like, you know, airy fairy unicorn world. Believe me, I've asked Tony for it over and over. I don't get it. And then there are times I have it. You have to trust when it's not there for a reason. It's okay to feel crappy. This is what's happening with a lot of you right now. It's okay to feel crappy. It's okay to feel down. It's okay to feel dumpy, tired, sad. It's okay, because it's what's right now for you. And if you allow it, then it releases. From, instead of being on the resistance of holding on to it, it's like keeping it hostage and locking it up. You guys don't want that. I know you don't want that. Those of you who are on that are still logged in, I can see quite a few of you on the YouTube channel. Go ahead and just throw me a chat if you can, so I can see if you guys are here with me. That would be great. I would love it, just to make sure you're all in. Okay. Thank you guys. Whoops. Sorry, let me just make sure this is off here. Okay. So when I throw all these emotions at you, hi guys, thank you. And you're like, oh, okay, Dawn, this is what I get quite a bit. So I'm going to make sure I address it with all of you. Okay, Dawn. Yeah, I know, you know, you're like, that sounds so simple. It's easy, Dawn, but it's not that easy, right? It's hard to deal with my emotions. And how do I deal with something I'm feeling crappy about? And I don't want to feel crappy. I don't want to deal with that. Hi, Bonnie. Thank you. I just want to make sure you guys were there. Okay. So my answer is I agree, because I am not an emotional person. So my poor hubby has to deal with some moments in time when he's like, I don't even know what to deal with this crazy beast. God bless him. The reason I'm bringing that up is because emotions are rough, but they can be easier to heal if you know what you are most sensitive to. That's the big piece I need you all to hear tonight, right? Because this isn't a blanket effect for everybody. That's the big piece. We are all affected by different things. And when you know yourself, that is the key to knowing how to get back your power, period. All right. So how do you make it easier? Because it's not for me. It's not even easy for me, right? And if you've worked with me in the past, you all know it's hard. And you're like, okay, Dawn, how do we make this easier to deal with emotions when they pop up, right? And so those of you who have worked with me, look at your 4 hot spots on an astrology chart. Go look for those 4 spots. And if you can find those boulders in your chart, you'll know exactly, I guarantee those hot spots are popping up. Now, if you don't have that, and you see that they're getting flared up, and there's a part of you emotionally that's getting flared up, and I guarantee you're very likely this last week, those spots are raging on fire for all of you, if you haven't been doing the work to have an exit plan to get out. Because I'm guaranteeing it's going to raise it. This energy is coming up for everyone, so we can all make our appearance and say, oh, that's what I have to make sure I've healed. Okay. So if you don't have a chart, you don't have an astrology chart, which you don't have to, look up a chart on your own. You can go on my website. Again, there's free charts there you can look up and find your moon sign. So if you don't know what your moon sign is, it's always a telltale sign of where you're going to go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Period. Guaranteed. So if you know your moon sign, literally go Google that sign and you can find it in your chart. You'll know exactly where you're going to be cuckoo right now because you're going to feel all this. That's where our emotions show up, where our moon is. Now let's go simpler than that. Let's say you don't know your chart, you don't know your hotspots, you don't know your moon sign. Google your sun sign, your zodiac sign, right? Google that sun sign and what are its challenging traits. All right, so it's fast and easy, and it puts you way ahead of the game than the most of the rest. All right. So why? Because the universe is pushing us all to dump the past and get on with it. That's really what's happening. And we are the ones putting old destructive habits in the way. And so knowing better or not is totally on all of you. When I'm giving you all super simple ways to look at yourself, right? So it's as simple as looking at myself, right? I'm an Aquarius. I can tell everybody pretty much knows that with a Libra moon. There's my moon, right? But as an Aquarius, I'm the sign of detachment. And so when I go Google, what are the weak spots of Aquarians? Well, they're detached and they're independent. So you can guess, leaning on anyone for myself, even my husband, can get me a little fired up and frustrating. I don't like it. So then when challenging times come up, what they're going to do for everyone, right? Now imagine how frustrating it can be for my spouse or your partner or your friends when they want to support you and support me, and I'm pushing away because I'm resisting. So his heart's in the right place. I'm the one at fault for not allowing the help. That's how you look at yourselves. Now let's add a Libra moon into it with the sign of partnership. And now my moon, which rules everyone's moon, your moon always rules your emotions. So clearly my emotions are going to get more challenged when I have to stare at my emotions and I have to talk to Tony about them. That's so much fun for me. And it doesn't make it wrong. Whatever emotion's coming up, deal with it, allow it, let it be present, talk it out, just say it to someone. But it's that simple. So by sharing those two simple traits with him, and he can see I'm struggling, and then he can intercede instead of seeing me as cuckoo, which I'm sure he will tell you all that I am cuckoo all the time, right? But the joke is that he believes in me then more, instead of when that frustration and emotion shows up and gets wobbly and lashing out. I'm not lashing out. I'm now, oh, she's trying to run away from it or hide from it or be detached from her emotion. I don't care what sign you are, you're going to show up in that way. Some signs are very critical. Some signs are very emotional. Some signs are very sensitive. Some signs are hypersensitive and they take everything personal. I take things as I never even knew it happened. And then I'm like, oh, I better deal with this. And it's going to show up in all various forms. But if we think we're going to avoid this, that's where we're going to get ourselves in trouble. And that's what I want you all to start paying attention to. Okay. So believe me when I tell you, all your cuckoo is going to surface one way or another. It's, are you willing to look it in the eye, stare it down and go, okay, I'm human. I have emotions. My soul came here to learn. And I'm willing to do it in my form, in my personality, in my character traits, and not thinking that everyone else is going to do it my way or how I think they should. Okay. So that is where I want you guys to pay attention to, watching out for labeling emotions that are bad. You're feeling crappy one day, feel it. Even if you feel physically crappy, it's okay. I've been resting quite a bit. A lot of this energy has been very, very tricky for me lately. And I'll have days and I'm like, I just don't feel well. I don't feel sick. I just feel heavy. And I don't really label it anymore. I'm like, all right, well, that means today I'm going to get a lot less done than I planned. And when I give myself permission to be in that space, the next day I'm like, oh, cool, it worked. So I'm allowing it to pass instead of resisting it from passing. That's where I want you guys to open your mind. Okay. So number 2 topic on the evening, your partners are revealing, and I mean partners by anyone emotionally in your space, are revealing your fear in HD. And I call HD because it's in like high def, right? High definition fear is showing up. Now, let's say, from what I just explained to all of you, I want to make sure tonight you understand, like if you've worked with me, you can go to these places and look up this info fast and go, okay, she did my hotspot chart. I'm going to open it up and look for my moon sign and go, oh my gosh, I have to make sure I Google the weak traits of that energy and watch it when it shows up. Good. Maybe you don't know any of that info. So the next piece is how do we look at our own personal fears in HD? So you know nothing about your sign, you know nothing about your personality, which all of you know that I teach. It's the door to freedom and allowing you the freedom from the shackles that bind you. Right? The simple answer is those closest to you will reveal you, especially the ones from your past who you haven't healed. Plain and simple. If you haven't healed anyone from your past, and I mean friends and family members and exes and exes and children, all of that, if you haven't healed it, it's going to rear its ugly horns and it's going to show itself to you in one way or another. Okay? So fear in HD, that's what's happening. And where to find it? Well, it's surfacing in fear in several versions, but here, basically it's been there inside of you all along is what I'm trying to teach people, is that fear in each of us. But which are you in fear of, right? So which fear is surfacing for each of you, or independently, who's on this call, what fear is surfacing? So these are the fears that have been surfacing throughout this whole kind of energetic shift, this ascension that we've all been going through. Okay, so those of you who are going through this ascension, these are the fears that are coming up: fear of death, fear of acceptance, and fear of security. All right, and so when body, mind, and spirit are full in these areas, no one can control you. You have all the power you need. All right, so how it's okay for us to start getting disinterested with your past, guys, because it's over. The challenge is that we're super afraid. Why are we super afraid? Well, we're super afraid because the past is popping up again and we're like, no, I don't want to die now. I don't mean death only from what's going on outside in the world, like physical death. I mean emotional death, which is why all this emotional BS is popping up for everybody, right? So all this emotional BS is popping up and we're afraid to let go of, get ready, the past. So it's okay to be, I was Googling this word earlier, bored is another word, but I think the word disinterested. I'm just not interested in the past anymore. So when it's okay to get disinterested with the past that you used to have, because it's over. Yet when it's popping up, my answer to all of you is this is what we need to figure out. So figuring out your relationship with you is how you increase your high def shows. And these high definition shows, and I'm talking about high def like energy with other people. Okay. So this is a topic that fascinates me so much. Why? Because we are so easy. Get ready. I know you've all done it somewhere in this last couple of months of all this cray going on. Okay. It's so easy to criticize our partners, our ex-partners, our ex-spouses, our ex-kids, whoever they are, right? Co-workers, family, boss, etc. Yet we do so little. We don't think about self-critiquing, and we don't go, oh, what is it that I'm mirroring in this person I'm critiquing that I'm equally weak in? That's what fascinates me about this whole thing that's been going on, right? Or here's the other positive aspects, the spin I like to look at. Or do we self-critique ourselves in the equal awesomeness that we see in them? Maybe there are people in our past that are showing up and going, hey, to remember me, and they're showing up and they're bringing up emotions. You're like, God, they're amazing. And so are you. So are all of you. And last week, I explained the difference between right? Some are assholes and some are awesome. Assholeness or awesomeness. You have two options, right? Well, we have to decide who we're going to let into our vibrational bubble of space. The same as in you, right? And so if your partners or your kids are expressing themselves in awesomeness, please understand it's like a high def movie playing itself out in your story right in front of you. You are just as awesome. Appreciate that. Love yourself. Go, oh my God, I'm doing really great. The challenge is that these planets, unfortunately, when people are coming at me right now, like, I don't understand why this is so frustrating and I'm heavy, because the challenge is when they come at you in the assholeness part, it's probably not a word, but it's making sense to all of you, right? So if they show up in very weak in some way, this is when it's easier to project and reject a part of yourself in them than actually see it in yourself on the big screen full view. And I mean, that person is your big screen to look at yourself. As crazy as that sounds, right? And the reason I'm bringing this up tonight is because emotions are at the all-time high right now, and they're surfacing on every level. Venus just went retrograde. Venus is the planet of love and emotion and beauty, and it's a good thing. But it also is about love, and love brings up emotions, and where our emotions get flared up and what we do love. It could be just the things we love, career, right? And so many are in criticizing mode. And my question is what are you accusing them of? Your answer is very simple. What are you accusing other people, even on social media? You don't like what you're seeing. It's what's wrong with us and what we accept. You know, it's kind of like, what's wrong with you? And why are you accepting that trait in your bubble of energy and emotions? So if your spouse or anyone close to you is upsetting you, I want you to ask if there's a part of them that you refuse to see in yourself. Like, so is there a part in that person that I refuse to see in me? And I need to have compassion for them as well as myself. We're not typically very nice to ourselves. That's one of the things I learn in what I do for a living. And it appears in others. And so I want you to watch when the A's appear, okay? Because they're typically your ego, and ego isn't bad, right? When you trust it to lead you to a higher ground. It's not good when you allow it to sabotage you into the ground. That's when we got to watch ego, okay? But when the A's appear in other people, I want you to pay attention where it's showing up. So I want you to watch out for being angry, when someone's being aggressive, when someone's being antagonistic, when someone is being avoiding. When these fours, angry, aggressive, antagonistic, and avoiding are showing up, they're all going to add up to one word: wounded. This person is wounded, and they're coming at you in a way that's frustrating to you. And the only reason you see that wound is because will that wound match yours? It's always hard to see because it usually doesn't. So we're like, but I'm not like that. And we like plead the fifth, right? Nope. It's always likely to be an extreme opposite, right? So kind of like a good example is the victim and the bully are the same person, right? They're both insecure and they're both projecting at different levels. So the assholes will look extreme to some area where you think you're coming across awesome, and it's equal. You're overwhelming in one area and they're overwhelming in another. Angry will appear when you're being too passive, right? Your antagonizing person is going to be present when maybe they're avoiding. The manipulator or the avoider in the world, that it's in your bubble or your space that you're accepting, will manipulate a situation to make it look like it's you, not them, and then accuse you of the crime. So I want you to call these HD performances whatever you want, but it's high def, guys, and it's full on, straight up in your face right now. And ego or fear, I don't care what you call it, it's the same source for everyone. Fear of being wounded again. That's what's surfacing. So imagine that it's coming out of you and it's coming up to the top, and you're like right here visually, you have to look at it. You're like, oh my God, I don't want to do that again. My answer is just roll with it. Be sad, be cry. Don't take it on everybody else, but admit, going, I'm really sad about this. or I'm really disappointed about this, even with yourself. Because the planets, I want you all to be prepared, and don't say I didn't tell you all. I'm preparing you all. So you're like, okay, I got this, Dawn, right? The planets are going to ebb and flow for the next 2 to 3 months. It's 12 weeks, not all in the same intensity. So don't think it's just going to be heavy. If you're in a heavy place right now, they're basically showing up to check your awesomeness. And I'm saying that truthfully, because if you can come clean with emotions and go, God, this doesn't feel great right now, or this person or these people from my past that pushed me past my limit, they're just checking to see your awesomeness. Like you've kindly owned it and said, okay, I'm good. They're literally asking you to reveal your past skeletons and finally let them go. Right? The label, the emotion, the shackles on all of it, right? If you don't let go, it's okay, right? Same thing. It's okay, because if you haven't up to this point, you're like, I'm still not letting go, right? Then I just want you all to know that your misery is then totally self-induced. Minimally, if you're not just talking it out to someone, writing it out, right? So all this pain that's appearing and surfacing right now for a lot of people is needed to wake you up and trust that it's asking you to use, get ready, your free will. Because you can choose anything you want right now. Anything. Emotions are what separate us from the animals, guys. Animals don't bother asking if it's okay to have shelter, water, and food. They don't go ask ego for permission to live the life they deserve. It's humans, right? Humans are the ones using your ego to determine what is right and wrong, lack and fear. There is no right and wrong. It's simply what you need to feel in order to release it. If it doesn't feel good, it's a hot burning coal. Why hold on to it? Let it go. As I said, you're disinterested in that anymore. Walk away to be free to live in this infinite life of freedom. Because it's there. And the challenge is when we don't release emotions, which we talked about how they can make you sick when you push it back down and act like it's not there. You're all lying to me. You're all lying if you think it's not coming up. We turn them into experiences that are stopping us from living our life. And I'm calling BS. This is not helping anyone, anywhere, even the people outside of you, because they're only programmed excuses, right? So when emotions are addressed honestly and sourced out from where you learn them, you're going to be more centered in your power, all right? And I want you to learn what you came in as your personality, what your soul's lessons are. A lot of us already know, but if you don't, learn what it is, right? Basically, learn your nature and your nurturing. I teach everybody this. Learn your nature, what's your personality, and learn what you were nurtured to program to do. And whatever doesn't serve you into the future, this is your moment in time that you have to let it go. Stop blaming your spouse, your ex, your exes, your family, just because they're bad actors and they're not delivering you a muted, soft, gentle version of the show that you wouldn't watch anyway if you didn't turn it on. So now you can all see it's always when someone's showing up, and I'm telling you guys, whether it's digitally on some social media, on a TV channel, on a friend, a coworker, a family member that's a spouse or like a parent, and they're just showing up, they're matching insecurity to insecurity. If that's what's upsetting you, it's showing you an insecurity that I want you to go, oh, okay then, right? So it's just with different emotional labels. Some are more dramatic actors. Those of you who probably know, you have very dramatic actors showing you like an extreme version of one of those A's, an angry, antagonistic someone. Some of them are very good actors and they get you very flared up, and you should say thank you for that show. It's high def. Yeah, Jill, I knew you'd like that one. So we have someone on here who she makes me crack up with some of her. She knows this high def emotional people in life, and that's awesome. So maybe you're someone who needs high def to wake you up sometimes. Say thank you, right? But what I think is silly is why we make it all so blown up and drama based. What I want you all to ask yourself tonight is how many of you are feeling the past appear for you right now? Okay. Throw it in the chat, throw it in the window, but I want you to think about it. I know you all are, and the answer is you're all experiencing fear in HD, sponsored by partners in some way. This is your simple one word, right? Fear in HD. And my answer is how to fix this very fast and very easily is don't resist, integrate it. Because they're showing you what not to, what or not to do. You want more of it or not? Integrate that, right? And so if you're like, let's just say you're someone who's passive, that person who's an avoider, right? And they're avoiding getting in the emotional state of this muck. And you're being passive and avoiding, well, then they're being aggressive and present and you know, strong-willed. Maybe they're showing you to integrate some more strength and confidence and presence. Don't take it as negative. Take it as, all right, thank you. I can do this. Okay? All right, guys. I'm not getting any chats. You guys start throwing windows. If there's anything that you have chats for, that those of you in the general call, because I'm going to invite my my guest on tonight and in a few minutes here. But tonight's tips, let me review what we covered. We covered number one, there are no bad emotions. Please do not label your feelings. Just feel them until they dissolve. If you're sad, be sad for a day, because when you don't resist it and you keep going along your merry way, you're going to notice it's just going to disappear. But when you resist, I'm not supposed to be sad, I'm not supposed to be sad, you're going to struggle with it. Anger, frustration, disappointment. It's okay to feel it as long as you're not judging and criticizing other people who show it to you. All right. Number two, check your moon and your sun signs for their week challenges. Just Google them, put them on your fridge as reminders. Fill those weak traits by doing that thing more. Integrate. Okay. I know I can get detached. I know I can just like kind of like, oh, wait, I'm here. I have to feel this. Oh, that emotion showed up. Where the hell did that come from? We all have that. We're like, no, I'm the same way. Right? I don't want to feel that, yet I know I have no choice because it is one of my weak spots. Please go there. Google's so quick for all of you. It's a very fast reminder. Number two, please don't resist, just integrate. And four, go to the relationship toolbox on my toolbox if you need to do the nature and nurture, because I'm not going to go into that tonight. But 1 through 6 will help you see emotions a little bit more with paper clarity and not in your head. Because when we get lost in our head, we get super confused. Okay. So tonight I'm leaving you, instead of with one question, I'm going to leave you with 2 questions of what we covered. All right. So the first question I want you to ask yourself is, what is your zodiac sign's weak spots? Google it, go look at your hot spots. If you already have one from me, whatever it is, but go find out what your hot spots are. All right. Go find out where you're weak in that energy and start filling it in. And number 2, what fear is HD for you right now? And I want you to integrate that. What fear is high definition? I mean, it is strong. And again, remember, it's going to be security. We went through these. So hopefully you guys, if you didn't write them down, remember the fear of death, fear of acceptance, fear of security. And it doesn't necessarily have to be dying death. A lot of you are going to be afraid of letting go of your old life. That's hard. Letting go of people, letting go of experiences. Security, we're afraid of losing money and our financial status and where we're at and what's going to happen and what will I become? You'll become bigger. None of you went through life and became amazing and then you're going to forget what you learned through this. You're not. You're going to get better, I promise. Fear of acceptance. What if I don't do what everybody else is doing? Will I be accepted? That's up to you. Do you accept you? You won't need them to accept you. You won't matter. I really don't worry about the fear of acceptance, and I don't worry about. I can say maybe the fear of security has come up for me in this one, but the fear of death, fear of acceptance, it's going to be different for all of you. Some people, fear of death came, maybe the physical death came up, right? I want you to think of it. So those are things that I want you guys to pay attention to in leaving tonight. What is your zodiac sign's weak spots? Put them on the fridge. Don't forget to daily integrate. And what fear is HD for you right now? All right, guys. I haven't gotten any questions from many of you. I don't see any Q&A coming up, which is super okay. I'm going to unmute one of our guests tonight. And I'm hopefully, let's see. Cecilia, hello. Can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, welcome.
Thank you.
Everyone, we have the amazing Cecilia on tonight. And she's our discussion tonight on cooped up confessions. Any cooped up confessions or questions or challenges that were coming up? Again, as we all know, cooped up confessions at the end of the call don't have to be regarding what the topics were tonight, or you can ask all of the above. So what can we help with tonight, Cecilia?
Oh, I guess my weak spots. I'm a Capricorn with a Gemini rising and an Aquarius moon. And I am doing some work in reading Growing Yourself Back Up, and I have everything that book talks about. I'm doing, done. Everything applies to me. So all of this is pretty spot on. I guess my issue is security. I always am fearful of the people in my life
leaving. Is that the question? Like the people in your life
not
leaving?
being here.
The people leaving is what you're asking.
Yeah.
Okay.
People leaving and me. My deepest fear is that I'm going to have to live underneath the freeway and be homeless.
Okay, guys, thank you. Like, this is so spot on and brilliant. And what she's saying is scaring a lot of people. And what, if any of you knew this beautiful soul, what you would understand is that Cecilia would never not have security because she is a Capricorn. Now, the weak spot of Capricorn is security. So looking within and talking through it and admitting to it and saying it out loud is what I'm trying to teach all of you. Her just seeing that acknowledges is something that scares her. So talking it out and saying it out loud and speaking it out into the universe is what helps her integrate more and saying to everyone, look, this is what I'm nervous about. This is what makes me insecure. So I'd like to override that. Now everyone knows where to watch her as opposed to Cecilia being cuckoo. Now they go, oh, this is where we can integrate with you a little bit more. And that's a huge piece for her, as well as she does know her moon, right? And her Aquarius moon, which I brought up Aquarius earlier, is emotional detachment. So she'd rather run away from it than stare it down and say, no, this is the way it's going to be. Have you experienced some of that where you've been trying to avoid some stuff, Cecilia?
Oh, no, not me.
There's a little sarcasm for you guys.
Yeah, like the plague.
So,
and the plague that we're dealing with.
This is what's so great about what she's sharing with all of you. And I really hope you're all integrating this from her, which is we all are doing some of that portion of what we had talked about, which is she is doing one of those words, right? Or you're all integrating in some way where she's in the being avoiding aspect, right? Where one of you might be an antagonist, where you're poking at people because you need stimulation, because you're feeling like nobody sees you or wants to be around you, or they don't even know you're around, or being aggressive and controlling, where the other person might be angry from the past. We can either be angry. Would you, Cecilia, say that given that you're being the avoider, are you experiencing someone else in your life who's creating the opposite, which is angry?
Yes.
There she is, guys. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. This is a perfect example of showing you how the dual opposites show up. You would think, right, it's going to show up as being an avoider. So, wow, I'm going to attract myself in someone. And so that must mean that if I'm being avoiding, why are they avoiding me? It must be I'm avoiding me. It's not that way. She's bringing someone who's being aggressive to get attention because she's not actually stepping up head to head with them. So that insecurity is truly matching insecurity. It's again, the bully and the victim, right? Same people, both struggling with the same topic, which is I'm afraid of my past. Does that ring true for you, Cecilia?
Definitely.
And how does this help you see where you apply it? Does it help you to see where you're going to have to start applying and saying, what do I really know about security? Have I ever not created security in my life ever?
Yeah, I mean, it helps me give myself a break, right? And then understand the people that are showing up in my life and their reactions, and like you said, how I can deal with them and my reactions towards them and myself.
Okay. And so when you do that, then what happens? What does it create? When you're filling in what you're doing? You consciously have said it to all of us, so we're going to hold you accountable for not avoiding.
Yeah, well, when I'm conscious about it, then it makes more sense to me. I can deal with it. I don't feel guilty about feeling my emotions.
There it is, everybody. See, I was hoping that would come out tonight. She feels guilty about feeling a feeling. And that's what's going on with everybody right now. And I'm so thankful that you said that. This is what everybody's struggling with. We are feeling guilty about feeling something. If I'm feeling sad, or I feel like I'm hiding or emotional or overwhelmed about something, and I'm not supposed to feel it. And the answer is stop feeling guilty. Just feel it. It's okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. I definitely, guilt is always involved in my emotions. I'll speak for myself.
Sure. So does that help you see now, like, and I hope everyone who's on this call, and whether you have questions for me regarding where Cecilia and I went on this is where I was trying to drag you all into, is we feel bad about having a feeling. And whatever the feeling is, we're like, God, I feel so bad about feeling bad about this, or I feel so bad about being angry at that person. You're not angry at that person. You're angry that you've accepted that energy into your space, and you're also feeling guilty that you're not confident enough to step up and go, this isn't okay for me. It's okay if you have a temper tantrum, fall down and throw an adult temper tantrum on the ground. Super okay. I'm gonna let you. And when you're done, then we'll talk as two adults. As she's reading this book, any of you who haven't read it, Growing Yourself Back Up, it's a wonderful book about healing. But it also helps you understand that perspective as well of, we don't need to address people in the same form that they're having the struggle of the emotion. We just need to have compassion that they're having it and turn it back on yourself. And it's okay for you to have it as well. Does that help, Cecilia? And are there any other questions that would help you kind of integrate some of this? Or does that make sense of where you start? Where do you think to start from this point forward?
Absolutely. Well, I think just having this list, how I'm feeling, and then understanding how my partner is feeling will help us better to be more compassionate, sympathetic, empathetic towards each other.
Instead of being upset that they have a feeling.
Right.
It's okay, guys, to feel bad. Bad is not sad. Sad is not bad. It's the equal and back and forth. Like, I want you all to please know it's so okay to just be disappointed with life, because when you are and things change, guess what happens? When you're okay to go, I don't want to be disappointed. That's this finally disinterested part, this bored part that shows up. When you're finally bored of the past, and you're finally I love the word disinterested. I'm not interested in the past anymore. And when I finally allow those emotions to surface as you have been feeling those emotions like trickle up, Cecilia, when you can actually stare at them, any of you on this call, when you can stare at those emotions and you can be honest with them, like, oh, I shouldn't say that or else we can't have this. I got to be careful with my potty mouth. Okay, my sailor mouth. I'm blank, blank, pissed off. I mean, go deep. When you're blank, 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 pissed off, when you can get there and admit it to yourself, it's going to show up at an extreme level to the point where you can go, I'm just not interested in being pissed off anymore. That's when it goes away and it dissolves out. And you're now in an adult perspective with your partner and you can work things out.
Absolutely. It's the magic.
So I have a question for you, Cecilia, that's coming up from one of the participants. So I'm just going to read it to you. And it says, so Cecilia, or any of us with the same challenge regarding detachment, it's likely to show up as extreme engagement also. And that's what her question was. And yes, sometimes we can be so overly, aggressive to the point where now we want to be, at the level of the word aggressive would be like controlling or smothering, to the point where we want to fix it so much we're aggressively trying to control the scenario. Well, that's no better than Cecilia, who's avoiding the scenario. Because if you're feeling, I've taught you all this on every call, and I'm not going to black out now. We got to get to neutrality and go, it's okay to feel that, because when you're done feeling it, you won't feel it anymore. How many of you have ever, and I know we've all on this call cried at one point in our life, you've cried so heavy, so deep, so pure, but the emotions just came out and out and out. And after a while, you were like, you were just done crying. There were no more tears. You didn't feel bad anymore. You actually just felt this pure, like almost like a shower for the soul. That's what crying is. Well, the same thing goes when you're feeling emotions and experiences on the inside. It's okay to feel whatever you feel, because at some point it's going to be like crying and it will just dissolve away. There won't be anything left because you're not resisting it. You're allowing it to surface and pass out. And so what's great about this is that was the question that they kind of had adapted onto you as well, Cecilia, of saying, okay, is aggressive any better or worse than your avoidance? And it's all the same. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think as we get wrapped up in our emotions and the situation escalates, you're not thinking about any of that. You're just
right.
You're involved in the situation, and until you can step back and take a look at what's happening, it can just keep going and going and going. And at some point you have to say, okay, somebody's got to stop, or I have to stop, or you drive yourself crazy.
Yes. And there's a point being where even someone else is making the same comment, taking steps forward only with people that resonate in your emotional world. And this is 100% correct. And what you just said, Cecilia, is like, I can't keep going down that path with them because it's going to make you crazy, but you don't even know it makes you crazy until it happens. So what I'm trying to share with all of you is this is really important that all of you understand this. When emotions surface, don't go with those people. Just say, is there something there for me? Does it really upset me? Work through your stuff on your level of going, could I just really let them be? And if they walk up the same path with me, they'll get there. I don't need to be mad at them. I don't need to be upset with them. You're either going to resonate at the same emotional level or you're not. But allowing people to get through their emotions as well is what gets us in a connection and kind of in a parallel reality with people. But when we're conflicted all the time, and we're in a very heavily conflicted energy right now, it's hard for people to walk through these paths. And I'm trying to share with all of you, you're all wondering how this is happening to everybody at once, because 4 planets looking backwards are saying, by the way, if you haven't healed it or looked at it or even at least acknowledged it, what do you want? It will bring it up again. Doesn't mean it's bad. Doesn't mean you have to keep it. Just means you need to say, yeah, no thanks. No thanks. And that's where you're probably at, Cecilia, of saying, okay, if I'm avoiding it, I'm going to look at it. I'm going to write it down. So I want all of you again to go back to those questions. Write down what fear is surfacing for you in HD right now. And then I want you to integrate, what would it take for you to either admit to someone you're struggling with it, or fulfill your own needs to not struggle with it and go, okay, when I don't feel nervous about that anymore, I'm going to ask myself, what can I do to integrate that fear? Fear of death? Are you afraid of it? Are we afraid to die? What is it? Are we afraid to be accepted? Right? Because there's a fascinating thing happening on the planet right now. Excuse me. We've all been separated. Fascinating, right? Where we are humans. We are meant to be in pairs. We are social creatures. We are meant to socialize, yet we've all been pulled apart. So this acceptance thing is, how do I get back to people and still be accepted? You will find your resonance and your group. I have this amazing group of soul tribe that's around me right now, and it's amazing to connect with them. I feel so good around them. I resonate around them. There's nothing in fear around them. The greatest group of people in my community. That's where we're at. So we have to write that down. And if you were to write down security, Cecilia, can you see where you can start implementing it on just a simple level of saying, emotionally, I need to talk through the security thing with my partner?
Absolutely.
Okay. Does that help just with that basic tool?
It does for me.
Okay, good. Is there anything else we can answer? You've got like 1 minute, 2 minutes left here. If not, we can close out. I just want to make sure I'm not leaving you with any last questions.
No, thank you.
But then thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. I appreciate you bringing those questions up, because they helped a lot for a lot of us to see the difference. And I'm gonna log you off now so I can finish off the call.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, guys, that was the amazing Cecilia. That was awesome. You know, guys, I really wanted you guys to get a part of that and understand that this stuff's coming up. You can fight it all you want, but now that I've warned you all have friends, you have family members. They're going to fall apart a little bit. So what? Love them, be compassionate, but don't fall into it with them. Support them, encourage it. Cecilia is so amazing in everything, the work that she's done. And those of us who have done the work, you're going to question it even more. You're going to be like, but I've done this work. I've worked on myself for so long. Why now? Why me? I do it myself. And the answer is you're just going to get quicker at recovering. You're going to recover so much more quickly than you would in the past. Before, it would be weeks, months, years even. Now it's days, now it's hours, now it's minutes. But if we're not acknowledging the emotions that are coming up, I guarantee you guys, you're going to start questioning, where is this coming from? And instead, no, okay, Dawn told me the planets are going to make me have to look backwards. Sometimes it's going to be good stuff. I've seen some cool stuff show up in my world. I'm like, oh, I didn't think about that in a while. And now I'm really grateful for it. If you're going to have to let stuff go, this is the free will part that I'm asking all of you to open your minds to. And if you're willing to let things go, you're going to walk into, I prepped you for the next several years, we're going to be moving through in and out of an Aquarian energy. And Aquarius is about ebb and flow, in and out. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. And what's so fabulous about that is if you can face your fears and go, okay, cool. I don't have to like feeling like this, but I have to accept it. And once it passes, you'll feel so much better because you won't be resisting anymore. All right, so someone's asking me, if we're supposed to let go, will this finally pass or keep returning? Ooh, good question. So on the last moment, she got the last question in on the dot. The answer is it will keep showing up, but not at the level you all choose. What I've been trying to explain to all of you is this is a karmic clearing, guys. I cannot be more clear about this. You all are in a huge state. If you're on my call, and there are a lot of you on this call right now, Thank you, by the way. But if you're on this call, you're already vibrating high. You're already at a higher vibration than many other people around you. So I want you to be very understanding that anything you want in your life right now, you can have. The infinite possibilities are all sitting staring at you in the face. It's all possible. What I want you to be understanding of is when the emotions come, it doesn't make you exempt because you've done the work. What it does is says, be very, very crystal clear about having your free will ignited. I want this. And be very clear with sharing it with people. Because those who are playing victim are the ones who aren't going to get that. Those are playing victim and saying they didn't do this for me and criticizing and critiquing and going backwards, they will keep doing it. It's up to you to say, no, I'm good. I'm done with it. I am moving on. I am disinterested and move on to the future. That is where we're going. Okay. And so if all of you can say, is it going to keep returning? Your stuff will return at the level you choose to take your free will and say no. And I don't mean no like in a mean, angry way, but just in a, I just choose not to engage in those people anymore and those experiences anymore and those energies anymore about security and about attention and about acceptance and about death. I choose not to choose that. When you actually make that choice, watch what happens. So someone's telling me, isn't I want not law of attraction friendly? If you don't know what you don't want, you're not going to know what you do want. Wanting is simply just saying, hey, universe, this is what I want. Now, wanting it every day and being upset that you didn't get it tomorrow because you said it today, that's the difference between the law of attraction and the universe. If you're saying, look, I want, let's just put it simply. I want $1 million and you only make $30,000 a year. It's a pretty big discrepancy between the two numbers. The million isn't impossible. It's very easy in today's day and age. It's just going to take some adjusting in your universal grid to get you there. I want the love of my life, but I've been bringing on cuckoo birds for a very long time, for the last 20 years of my life. So I'm very, very versed in cuckoo birds. I'm using the term lightly, okay? It's going to take you some time to move yourself to healthy, loving, passionate, kind, generous souls, because you have to change you to attract them. And that's where I'm trying to get you all to go when it comes to the law of attraction. Put it out there, make a choice about who you are and what you want, and then don't navigate to people you don't want anymore. That's what I'm trying to explain to you about the want. Doesn't mean you have to go tell everybody what I don't want. I don't want that anymore. I don't want it. Just don't go there. That's the law of attraction. That's why it gets people in trouble, because they say it doesn't work, because you're so focused on the timeline of it and not the intention of it, not the energy of it. But I didn't get it. The one person who made this great comment about the law of attraction doesn't realize that what they're saying is they're the example of the law of attraction. They have attracted so much amazingness from where they had worked so hard to get through this training and the systems and the infinite like ability to express your free will. So that's what's really cool about life, is when you can kind of come clean with emotions. Tonight, we're going to open up and say there is no good or bad emotion. Just feel it. When you're disinterested in feeling it anymore, you will realize, you'll be like, wow, I don't feel it today. It'll go away on its own. All right, guys, I am 4 minutes over the hour. You guys have been brilliant and amazing, amazing questions, amazing comments. Thank you so much. Everybody on the Zoom call, thank you for joining me. Thank you again on YouTube. We will be posting this live into the Truth Tribe, as well as the YouTube will get a repost on there as well. So if you want to rewatch or share it, please share this with your friends. Remember that we're doing this live call so we can get everybody included. So please invite people, invite them to join us on the next call. Share this call, share this live Truth Tribe to someone else that you know will help them. We're going to start growing this community, because if you want your community to grow, you have to share it with them as well. And again, the Truth Tribe is always open right now. I've been asking a few people to start sharing it now, because it will go back to a paid group down the road. And if you're in now, you're grandfathered in and you won't be paying. So my point is join in when you can now, get your friends to join in, and then go get the couples toolbox if you want to get further ahead on your working through your nature and nurture understanding. It's simple, it's fast, and it's all there. But again, you guys all know where to find me. I'm so grateful to see you, so many of you on the call. Brightest blessings, and I will see you all again soon in a week on Monday. Have a great night. Take care.